Thank you, bitch.
You're so welcome, bitch. I got you back.
So you watched the Bill Burr special?
I did watch the Bill Burr special. And I will say, so like I've only dabbled in watching Bill Burr like a couple of times. I think I've seen clips in the past, maybe watched small clips of his previous specials. And I absolutely love this special, but I also found myself, because I'm not used to hearing his voice.
Sure.
And like
I don't know what this is going, but it's funny.
When I tell you, like, there were moments where I was like, I can't listen to him, like, because like the way that he was like kind of like shouting beyond a minute sometimes,
sure.
I wasn't used to that, and I was turned off by the voice, but I was turned on by what he was saying.
Sure.
So I
just
found
men, huh?
I mean, truthfully, I was like, a white man screeching. I was like, my ears can't handle it, but I found myself doing this while watching it. Like I could, and I was like, oh my God, I'm enjoying myself, but this is what I would get upset with other audience members. Like I would be like, why aren't you laughing? Like you said you enjoyed the show, but why aren't you laughing?
Right.
But now I'm like, oh, maybe you weren't accustomed to how I tell my shit, but you're still enjoying what I'm saying. And that's what I found myself doing watching Bill Burr's special. I was like, I can't listen to this voice right now, but I'm fucking with everything he's saying.
So funny,
yes, I had a moment where I paused and I said, oh my God, I am the audience member that I hate.
That's so you know what's funny? Sometimes when I listen to his podcast, I go, all right, that's enough of this. That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
And I paused, and I think I think I took like I was busy while I was like watching it and shit, but I definitely watched it in chunks. But every single time, like I love the way that he was talking about his family.
Yeah.
Like he was weaving in and out of politics, but then he would talk about his own personal shit. And that bit, I don't know if this is what you were talking about last episode, where you were like, oh, he said something at the end. Like go like talk more about that. Like what is that about?
Right.
When he was talking about his son, like that little bit
yes.
at the end. Yeah, when he was like, I was touched as a kid. I was like,
excuse
what the
me?
fuck? And then he was like, all right, I've been Bill Burr, good night. And I'm like,
I was like, excuse me, is that the that's like when a TV series that's really good, they end on such a strong note.
And you're like, you can't just I mean, literally every Shonda Rhimes show ever.
Right, exactly.
You're like, why? And they're like, okay, and now we're going on holiday. And you're like, on holiday? Yes. Somebody's been murdered.
Yeah, that last moment in the Bill Burr special is a fucking doozy.
Wild. Because he was just like, and I've been touched as a child. And then continued to tell the bit about his kid. And I was like, we're not.
Yeah,
and then I looked.
I want to hear that bit. I don't want to hear about your personal growth, about your. I mean, it's really sweet hearing him say that stuff.
Yeah.
But I definitely was like, rewind, bitch.
Yeah, I was like, what is what?
It really makes me look forward to whatever his next special is going to be, and if he's going to get into it, because he might not either. I mean, no one's forcing him to do anything. I mean, I want to watch that material for sure. That's so funny. Yeah. I also love that you're like, I'm not used to hearing yelling. I love knowing. When you like hear something, you hear someone say something, you're like, oh, you didn't grow up in an abusive household, how lucky.
Hey, okay, this is so funny because my girlfriend has roasted me like for this so many times. She was like, oh, you never had like somebody like firmly yell at you and like try to smack the shit out of you. And I was like, no, not really, not really. No. So no, but so I could not believe what was happening to me as I was watching his special, because I fucked with everything that he was saying. I loved it, but I just couldn't.
That nasally ginger voice of his.
Yeah, but it was because I loved it when he would leaned on the mic stand. He was starting to get into a moment, and then he would ramp up to 100, and then he'd be at 100 for 5. It was for 5 minutes for me, where I was like. Yeah. I was like, I'm listening.
That's so. You know what? I gotta say, that's so funny because I don't think until recently I was like, oh, Bill Burr reminds me of my dad. That's why I like him so. That's why I find him to be easy to listen to.
Yeah,
because he does remind me of my dad in that way.
Interesting.
Where it's like, oh my God, enough with the yelling already. But I mean, I have to listen to your point, so I guess this is how you're gonna deliver it.
Yeah.
So with Bill, I guess I am just used to it. So it's so funny. Wow. Yeah. Abuse, huh? Really comes at you fast.
Comes at you from all angles, on stage and off stage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was. I mean, it was truly a fascinating moment because I don't think I had really had that before, and because it was getting such rave reviews, I was like, well, I'm gonna sit through this whole thing, even though maybe if it was a comic that wasn't Bill Burr, because when I've seen male comics shout like that in the clubs, I'm walking out.
Because also a lot of the time the material is not. It's not worth sitting through.
Yes.
That's the other thing. I think that's the the beauty of Bill Burr. That's what his beauty has always been. I think Patrice O'Neal also had that ability where when he would get really loud and kind of obnoxious, it would still be some brilliant shit you never heard of. Yes. And you were like, okay, that was worth it. But yeah, you're totally right, dude. When fucking them dudes are yelling on stage, you're like, oh no.
And but what is so infuriating about that is there was a show that I was on, and there was this guy from LA who was in town. I don't remember his name. And he starts his bit from like storming up from the back of the theater and is just shouting. And he shouts for like 5 minutes, and I couldn't tell what he was saying, but people were laughing. And I was like, but I'm so confused, because if I did that, no, I don't think anybody would.
I don't know if that's true. I mean,
you don't think so?
I mean, I definitely feel like shouting, yelling, raising your voice is a tactic people use, you know, to perform, deliver lines. Yeah. It's a beneficial tool at times. Yeah. But it is annoying if it's not like worth the bit. Yeah. You know, and there is no guaranteeing that everyone's going to be on your side. I mean, look, Sam Kinison made a whole fucking career of just screaming into the microphone. That's true. And he did it at the end of the night when nobody, I mean, at the Comedy Store, it's like the Sam Kinison spot was like the very last spot. That's like the legend there. And that's all he fucking did was yell, and he almost like had to fucking be heard when sleepy drunk people
weren't doing that.
Yeah, and so it is what it is. It's a useful tool, and I think anybody can use it. But it's definitely, it's like if it's not working, it's a bad bomb when it's not working. Which actually brings me to the Bill Burr Philly incident. Oh yeah, I love that you don't know about this. No, there's this I think it has like 9 million views on YouTube. Okay. The OG viral video. Yeah. 9 million views on YouTube, where I'm not sure if it was like one of the, you know how like sometimes they have like a comedy jam, but it's just really just an excuse to throw a really big comedy show in a huge fucking venue. I'm not exactly sure what the venue was. But everyone is bombing because his Philly crowd is so like they hate everyone. They're like
everyone on the lineup?
Everyone on the lineup is bombing hard, and some of them are getting off stage early. Some people are just like with their, tails between their legs, like, and these are hardcore East Coast comics, and they're just doing bad. And then Bill Burr gets out there, and this crowd is like, just being totally obnoxious. Here comes this totally obnoxious sound. God. This is what Bill Burr sounds like when he's delivering a joke in Chloe's ears.
I'm just sensitive to loud noises.
You could be. It could be neurodivergence.
Oh my God, that could be. Okay, I have to get that checked out.
So sensory overload. Yeah. Ooh. But then Bill comes out and he completely like roasts the whole crowd, like completely shits on them. Yeah. Talks about how like what pieces of shit they are in his own Bill way, and like how their teams suck and like all this shit. Like what do you guys like? Oh, girl, it's so worth watching. It's so fun. And he turns the crowd around. He turns this huge venue of a crowd around, and it's like legendary comedian shit where it's like, yeah, dude. You're totally able. What?
When did this happen?
This was so long ago.
Oh, was it long ago?
Yeah, this was. I would argue it was like when he was just amping up to get more.
Got you.
I don't want to say because he wasn't. I don't know if he was ever planning to be famous. I don't know if he expected it to happen to him. Yeah. But there was this trajectory that was happening, and that was one of those like legendary moments. That it's also funny because. When it's recorded, so there's someone in the audience, like way in the back. It's the worst video. Oh. It's terrible footage. It's not. It
wasn't even like with the club. Like somebody was just like recording.
It was somebody in the because it's like a theater. It's like a big. I don't want to. It wasn't a stadium, but it was a pretty huge theater, and it's one of the best bombs in recorded history. Yeah. And what's funny is it's not even his quote unquote worst bomb, because it's not a bomb. He didn't bomb. He went out there and turned them around. Yeah. And it was really cool. It's really cool to watch. I think every comedian, if you've never watched it, you should watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's got 9.2 million views, something like that. And it's such a funny. It's just classic Bill Burr, and that yelling shit comes in handy. Yeah, it really comes in handy in those situations because you can't be soft spoken in some of those moments. Yeah,
and that's something I personally struggle with too. Where I was like, "Is now the time to yell?" I was like,
"Do I if I yell?
Yeah, do you mind if I yell? Will you?" Because I've definitely questioned those moments, and I have watched comics do that in like smaller settings, like turn it around by just like calling out the audiences, and I'm always like, wow. one day I too will yell at the audience. Like, but I was like, but I'm just not there yet, but I want to be.
Yeah, which brings me to next episode. Comedy is dead because of bombing.
Yeah, comedy is dead because of bombing.
Yeah, because I think people don't bomb like they used to. I think bombing used to actually be way worse.
Wait, what was bombing? Because like I always love to know people's definitions of bombing. So what did bombing used to be like? Way
I
worse
just
for
feel
you?
like bombing used to be like not just dead silence. It's like people are groaning, people are mad, people are like it's like it feels tense. Like you might have to fight a bitch.
Oh,
that's
okay.
real deal bombing. That's what bombing used to always be to people.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we got to call security because you just pissed off table 6 and they're going to come beat your ass. That's how bombing used to be. It used to be like scary to bomb. Bombing, like, there's bad sets.
Yeah.
There's like, shucks, I had a bad set. Like, I did Vegas on Friday and I was like, oh, that was a bad set. But it was a bad set for me. I know plenty of comedians who had been very satisfied with that set and how much laughs they got. It wasn't satisfactory to me.
Yeah.
So even though it's not a technical bombing, but for me, I'm like, oh, I bombed. But I'd say that just to like, be like, I don't know how else to describe it. I didn't have fun.
Yeah.
But that's not what a true bombing is. A true bombing is you kind of want to shit your pants a little bit. You kind of feel, like that Cat Williams story that I told about bombing.
Yeah.
I did feel a little like that there was tension in the room and that if I said one wrong thing, I could absolutely get my ass whooped. Whether it was a comic or one of, somebody else or someone just trying to defend his honor or something. Absolutely, that could have happened. There's that feeling, that tense feeling that you have. Like, you can get your ass fucking whooped on.
I've never had that definition of bombing, like, in my mind. But that makes sense as far as, like, that being, like, a true... Because for me, it literally is, like, oh, they were silent in some of my bits, and I bombed. Like, it's just not to the level that I want. But it's also, like, being hard on myself.
Exactly.
Where people are like, no, that was great. And I was like, no, what? It was?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, I thought I fucking bombed.
Yeah, exactly. But there's bombings where it's like everyone knows you bombed, everyone felt you bombed. There's not a person in the room that disagrees that you didn't bomb,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the true definition of bombing. And I really don't think a lot of this new generation, you included.
Because that sounds like an atomic bomb. That doesn't sound like a bomb.
Right, but that's what a bomb is.
Yeah.
That's what a bomb is.
Yeah.
And bombing these days is more just like, you might have the venue roll their eyes at you.
Yeah.
Like, oh God, that person was terrible. We're definitely not going to have them back. But that's not a bombing. A bombing is a fucking, why the fuck? I can't believe you fucking, like, that's, dude, there are so many bombings that have happened where they piss off the venue. They're never asked back, but in a banned kind of way. Like, you've been banned from a venue.
Well, I've heard of now that stuff I've witnessed, but now I'm like thinking back on my sets to be like, has anybody wanted to fight me after my set? Like, I'm trying to like think like were there like massive groans? I think there was maybe only one time where there were a couple of groans and then people were like trying to just like talk with me. And then one person thought that they were like funnier, but this was like 2 years in and I was like, I have no idea what to do. I'm just gonna keep going kind of like engaging because I never experienced that before. And I was in a brand new area that I'd never performed before. So yeah, I guess that was probably the time where it was like massive groans and people were just like talking at me. One person got up and like left and I was like, okay, like like this is like really bad. But I think because I got like maybe a laugh or two at a joke, but it was like earlier on I was like, okay, this isn't bad, but it just fucking tanked at the very end and I was like, this is a learning lesson.
This is a bombing. You learn from your bombs. That's the other thing. You do learn from bombing, like how to be better. I mean, that was the thing we were talking about in the last episode is like how often it's the audience. But I mean, if we're being honest, like there's many, many times it's us. We definitely made absolutely too many wrong choices, one after the other the other. And I know comedians who, once they realize they're gonna bomb, they just fucking dig themselves a deeper hole. They dig a deeper hole. They don't even try to get out of it. They just want it to be worse.
That's very real. And I think like earlier on it was obviously like a lot of bombings because you're still learning it, and now I appreciate the bombs.
Sure.
Sometimes like if I haven't had, I mean, I guess not like a true bomb, like my version of a bomb, but if I haven't had one of those, I'm like, I kind of want one. I kind of need one because I'm like, there's something that I'm missing. I need to learn here. I don't want to think that like everything that I'm doing is like really great. all of the time. I just like to learn from that shit.
And the good news is that when you will get to a point when you've had so many good sets and you've done it so often that you're just like, oh, a bomb is coming. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming. Yeah. And you feel it coming. And then when it happens, you're like, it's here. I'm in it. All right. Well, I knew this was coming. And that sucks because it doesn't like make it better. No. You don't feel better knowing that you were due for a bomb. Yeah. It's just a number. It's a numbers game. Stand up is like, yeah, you can perform. You can have lots of great sets, but you know a bad one is coming.
That's literally how I felt a couple weekends ago, where I had an incredible set, like probably one of the best ones I had, and I had 2 out-of-town gigs that weekend, and I was like, one of these is gonna be a bomb, and both of them were. Both of them were. Well, to my standards. Sure. But yeah, no, I mean, it very much is also on us when it comes to bombing. Yeah. Because we just aren't pivoting.
We're not pivoting. Yeah. We're not. But also, there's some times where it's like, it doesn't matter what you do. They are not with you. You're not with them. Dude, I one time had to do, oh my God, Damon Wayans Jr. had to cancel a weekend. So they asked me like Thursday or Wednesday, like, can you fill in for, and I was like, okay. It was my first time going, I'll do a fill in. I had no idea what a bad idea was going to be. Really? Because there are still ticket holders that were hoping to see Damon Wayans Jr., right? And then there's the ticket holders that, okay, we're not going to see Damon, but we're okay. We already planned this evening, so let's just go. They really don't want to see you. And then there's the people that do want to come see you, but it's also last minute, so, you know, it is what it is. Yeah. So you have a smaller audience, and you can plan for it. It's fine. And I was doing, like, okay. Mm-hmm. But what I did notice was, because you always notice the people who aren't laughing, and there was this older couple, but this older guy, he had his arms crossed the whole time. Didn't enjoy it, but I was like, I'm going to keep pushing through, you know, whatever. And then this table of really shit-faced drunk girls. Oh, God. What a contrast. They get up to go to the bathroom, and I make a comment about how they're some drunk white girls. I go, drunk white girls. This bitch turns around and she's like she just goes off. She just starts going off, and why you got to bring up being white, and why do you got to bring we're not even, like, she just starts going off. And I'm like, what? I was like, you mad that I called you drunk and white? The two things you are right now? Facts. And then she just goes off. And then I turn to the older white guy. Yeah. And I go, sir, I said, this guy's been hating me all night. Sir, did I take it too far by calling them drunk white girls? He was like, nope. And here we go again. I don't know if you guys can hear the ambulance. I forgot to listen to that. But anyways, and it cracked me up because I was like, even this old white man who has hated me all night agrees with me that you are just 2 white girls that are drunk. And it was one of those, like, loosen the rest of the room up. And then also you forget that sometimes people being loud and annoying is annoying everyone around them. Yeah. So it's like when they finally left, it kind of loosened the crowd up more because they're like, finally, let's fucking. And you don't always know what's going on in the audience when you're on stage. You don't realize that there's a table annoying people. You know. And that's what's so frustrating is when you go back to, like, is it you? Is it them? And you don't know what you're dealing with sometimes. On Saturday when I was in Vegas with Felipe Esparza took me to Vegas. It was really fun, but there was a Canelo fight. There was a big boxing fight happening. Oh, you were out there when the Canelo fight was happening? Yes. Oh my God. There's a lot of Latin independence celebrations happening. Like Fluffy was out there. Yeah. There was a lot of Latino activity happening. Yeah. Canelo always fights Mexican Independence Day weekend. Oh, and that's crazy because he lost. Yeah. But still, that fight was crazy. But yeah. But so it was cracking. But I really was like, oh, I'm probably gonna bomb on Saturday because it's the fight. Like, if it's not still happening, which I would think I was on stage when he lost, and and people were watching the were they watching? Yeah, during the fight. My friend told me because she was taking pictures of me, and she was like, no, there's people watching the fight. But also, like I said, I was like, it's fight night. People are gonna be shit faced. Gonna be in the pool all day. People are gonna be drunk. People are gonna maybe lose money. Maybe win money. I don't know what the vibe is gonna be. Yeah. I was like, but I feel like I'm probably gonna bomb, and so I was like, I'm just gonna put on a really cute dress. I put on my little feathery pink dress because I was like, fuck it, I'd rather be cute and bomb. Yeah. Like, because oftentimes I'm like, if you can anticipate a bomb and get some good pictures out of it, fuck it, right? That's how I look at it.
And that's self-care.
And you know what? Ended up having a fucking great set. There was way more women in the audience than I realized. Also, there was a ton of people because people fly to Vegas, right? So there was a ton of people from California. There was enough people in California. I did a local hometown joke that worked. Yeah, that's how many people from California were there. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, oh, this is actually going really good. I was not expecting them to be that good. So it's really funny how sometimes you're like, oh, the circumstances are not. Again, sometimes you anticipate that the audience might not be ideal. And sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you're totally wrong.
That's actually hilarious because that something similar as far as like anticipating that the audience isn't going to be good for you that night. I was hosting here last week and I was just sitting like in the back of the theater just like watching people walk in, just trying to see who's going to be in the crowd, and these like 6 group of like young jabroni like white guys, like easily 20 years old, they're walking in. And one of the kids, he like asked the manager, he was like, oh, like, where do we get our drinks? Do we go to the bar? And the manager's like, no, you have a host come to your table. And they were like, oh, awesome. They were like, guys, we can get drinks tonight. And I was like, oh my God. And the manager sat him right up front. And I was like, sick. Like, this isn't just like 6 bing, bang, bong. So I was like, okay, you know what? And in that moment where I was like, I'm going to have fun. I was like, I'm going to have fun. I was like, let me not prejudge. I was like, that is a really funny moment to like roast them about.
Yeah.
Like, and I ended up having so much fun with them, like throughout the night. Like I picked on them. Like I made one of them come out as gay. Like it was a really beautiful moment. And then afterwards they came up to me and they were like, oh my God, do you only host? Do you do other shows? We just moved here. And I was like,
oh my God, how cute.
They were so cute. Like all of them, we were just like, we want to follow you. And I was like, I gotta say, I was a little worried about you guys when you came in. And I was like, I shouldn't have prejudged you. And I was like, even though I don't know your political views currently, I was like, I really love this. Like, it was just like a beautiful moment that I chose not to judge them, even though when I first saw them come in, I was like,
you were freaked out.
I was like, fuck. And I was like, okay, what do I have? What do I have? What do I have?
That's funny.
Yeah, but they were like on their best 22-year-old behavior that entire night, because one of the guys, it was his birthday too.
Oh my God.
Yes, and they were on that. They were like engaged with everybody.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, hope ?
I mean, I gotta say, I'm the young audience members that are like, I call them still COVID babies, because if they were in high school, they were when the lockdowns happened. Like they didn't experience a lot of stuff.
I like that name, COVID babies.
They're all COVID babies to me. If you were in school when COVID locked down, the college students, fine, whatever. You've already like, I feel like through high school you experience some really cool shit that I think everybody should experience if you're lucky. To experience, like going to school dances and
and prom too.
Prom and like sporting events, and I know there's people that don't like to do that stuff, but usually even like the nerds and the people that are like not social, they'll like go to some events every now and again. They kind of check it out, but that like helps you prepare for society. Yeah. And a lot of what I'd call COVID babies, they don't know how to be in these spaces. Yeah. Which is probably why they were like, well, they're going to come to us. That's crazy.
It was like field trip for school. Yeah. Like that's what
I'm saying. They don't know how to act, which they don't know how to act can be bad. Yeah. They don't know how to act can be good because they're just like, oh my God, this is the coolest shit ever, which is what you want. That's what you want from anyone.
I was fucking with them. I literally was like, can I pick y'all up and replace you with the other white boys in my audience?
That's funny.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I can just have a token white boy just put out there. They were great. They were great. And I was like, okay, you need to stop prejudging your audiences.
I mean, it's okay to like be prepared in the sense of like, let me look at the audience, because also, in talking about bombing, there are ways to avoid certain types of bombings, because if you go out there and say the first comic up does like vulgar material, they're not into it, and you go, why aren't they into it? And it's like, oh my God, it's a bunch of the elderly people. Yes. Yeah. It's like, dude, you made a wrong choice there. That's just a bad choice.
I always love to observe the audience, and I always like to, if I can, see like the comic or two before to see kind of like what the audience is fucking with, like what's the energy, because if I can't avoid having to like make that decision in real time when I'm up there, it's just like, why not try to set yourself up for success, or at least like a half a bomb.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, like I don't do like dick and pussy jokes tonight. Like, we're gonna keep it clean because we have Grandma Jane in the
exactly
audience.
You know what's funny about that is what's the worst version of that is when you can't see the audience, right? There are instances where you have no clue because of the way that everything is set up. You would have to like be on stage. Like I've done that where you're like, oh, I'm on stage. There's no, I can't. Okay, I guess I can't see anybody before the show. So we were doing this, this like little. It was like a boutique shop. Yeah. Right. We got paid in like pinup dresses. Like it was a cool gig. You know. This is early days of stand up. Yeah. This is.
Is that all that?
This is pre Ali Wong being famous. Like, so we all got paid in dresses, right? Okay.
That's how women got paid, was in dresses?
We've been paid in vibrators, dresses. I've been paid so many different ways. But the dress was, I still have the dress. I don't know if it still fits me. I think it might. But it was like a really nice, high quality, like pinup style dress. It was this pinup boutique. And so they're doing a show and we're so excited. And I believe I'm either first or second after the host. But the host, we can hear all of us. Yeah. Which again, we all wanted to know who's here. And do you think it's a bunch of women? I think we could not tell. Oh, no. There was no seeing the audience unless you like went from the back to the alley around the, far. It was far. We weren't gonna do it, so we're just like, fuck it. It's a small show. We're getting paid in dresses. Who cares? We're gonna have fun, right? It's what we all thought. We're all trying on dresses. We're all trying on dresses. Oh my god! All the girls. There's like I don't even know how many girls were on the show. 6 maybe. A host goes on and we can hear she's uncomfortable. There's something is off. Yeah. And we're like, I wonder what's up with that. Like it doesn't sound good. It just doesn't sound good. Yeah. She is done. She brings up the first comic. She comes to the back and she goes, there's a child in the first row. She's like 10 years old. She's old enough to understand what's going on. The mom is like, she was flabbergasted. We all were like, oh no. And then all I kept thinking was, Ali Wong is headlining. Oh no. I was like, oh my God, somebody's got to do something. And everyone's like, oh my God, and then I don't know if I was second, third. I know I wasn't first because Brandy had to come and tell us and we were like, oh my God. And then
that's like a PG set, something G.
Girl, Jesus. I go out there and I sacrifice myself. I sacrifice myself for this 10-year-old child because I was like,
were you the next one up or no?
I think like I said, I was either second or third. I don't remember, but I was definitely like, like, how did you hear about this event? Like, why did you bring your child to a comedy show? And they said, well, it says all ages. I said, where did it say it was all ages? It didn't say it on the flyer. Okay. It did not say that on the flyer. And she was insisting that the venue, the boutique was like, they said it's all ages. I was like, I'm here to tell you that it's not. I'm here to tell you that it's actually really like, because I have nieces and nephews and they were probably around the same age as that little girl was. Yeah. And she was so sweet. They're all in their little pinup boutique, like 40s style glamour. The daughter's also in her little polka dot dress. It's the cutest. I fully sacrificed my set. I do not have a good set. I don't want to call it a bomb because it was a choice I made. Yeah. Where I was like, ma'am, I'm telling you, like, I'm trying to be funny. Do that. I think she didn't know. It's when you're hosting, you have to adhere to whatever the venue wants.
That's fair.
And let's say the venue did tell people it was all ages. Let's say they did. The host has to kind of comply with that. Got you. But the acts do not. Right? Damn. And so I was like, just in this, like, just for the sake of being a good person. And I was like, listen, lady, I know you want to enjoy, like, you thought this was a good idea. I was like, I'm telling you, it's not. I'm begging you to leave. And then I would do a joke. And I was easing into it. Yeah. And then I think I did this joke with one bad word in it. Yeah. And I think I even changed it to make it a little easier to swallow. Yeah. And I go, lady, that's me doing the nice version. I was like, the headliner that's coming up. I was like, you do not want your child watching her. Like, I'm begging you. I'm asking you to leave. I'm begging you. I was like, because when I was 10, I think I even talked about how when I was a kid, I had been like, okay, you be a child, don't get into adult stuff. Like, I had this like conscious choice that I made as a little girl. Yeah. Because I just knew that the world was like, the older you get as a little kid, you're like, the world is, I think there's something wrong with the world. I think I should just play with my Barbies. And I was like, please, I'm begging you. Your child's innocence will be ripped away and you will watch it happen and it will be your fault.
Did she let her stay?
No, she fucking got up.
She got up.
They got up. Good. And people were like,
Yeah.
Because some people were like, yeah, she shouldn't be here. It didn't say all ages on the flyer. She shouldn't be here. And I was like, no, I care about.
That the boutique didn't even like.
I think the thing is, sometimes when people do these DIY shows, they do not realize what they're getting themselves into. Yeah. There's not like, they don't put restrictions because they don't realize they need restrictions.
That's fair.
That's the problem. Fair. And no one knows to communicate. And a lot of comics, they don't know how to fucking put, you know, have a spine and say something. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not letting this beautiful little Latina baby girl hear some nasty fucking. This was like before the special, like the filthiest jokes that are on the special. She was doing them. Like she was actively doing them. You don't want a child watching that. You don't, And the thing is, here's the thing. Yeah. All the comics were not going to change her. Allie's not going to change her act. They're not going to change their acts, which they shouldn't have to.
No, they shouldn't.
But I was just like, I'd rather be a person right now than a comic. Like, I was like, no. Yeah. You're going to be upset if you watch this. And so that was like not a bomb, but kind of like, again, a sacrificial bomb.
I would say that, that's definitely a sacrificial bomb because it's not, no. You were doing... You were a human.
I was a human, kind. Which, not a lot of comedians aren't.
No.
I feel like that's also what makes me a different host sometimes when I'm hosting my shows is like, no, I'm going to be a human right now. Because I had were you there when I had this old man heckling and then or did I already tell this story?
I think you told me that story.
Yeah, the old man is heckling and then the lady was like,
oh yeah,
she wanted to enter and it's like, lady, now you're also heckling. Like, no. This is not weird.
Like, bitch, this is my show.
Yeah, it's my show, not your show. This is not your show. I decide what the fuck goes down here.
The heckling though shit is wild. Like, cause that is something that
can make a bomb worse.
can make a bomb worse. But there was one instance. I am trying to remember this particular night. But I'll never forget Skylar Higley. Somebody, I don't think he was bombing, but I also don't think the audience was like particularly great that night.
Sure.
But some guy in the front row answered his phone. And like mid joke, Skylar was just like, "Did you just answer your phone in the middle of my joke?" And this guy was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Give me your phone." And he took his phone and then he like started to have a conversation. He was like, "Did you know that like your husband or whomever is like answering his phone like in the middle?" And like had this whole conversation and the crowd was like the loudest I had ever heard. And I was like, I love those types of moments. Absolutely. Where it's like you can either like let that be a thing or ignore it, or you can just lean into it and call them out. Yeah. Because
he's already taken a call. You might as well call him out.
Yeah. And then it goes back to what you were saying. Like the rest of the audience is going to be annoyed by this guy answering his fucking phone.
Yeah. People think it's weird when you don't acknowledge some shit that's happening. Yeah. Something that's really obvious. That's funny. One time I had a guy pick up a phone call, fully talking, front row. And I made him leave, and then I got the whole room to boo him while he walked out. I was, boo! It's my favorite thing to do when somebody's getting kicked out is get the whole room to boo them, because it just shows them like we are all mad at you. It's all not mad. Just the person on stage being sensitive.
All mad.
We're all mad at you.
I have witnessed a heckler make I have witnessed a heckler make a set worse. Though it wasn't my set, but he was doing like this comic was doing like really bad crowd work, but it's because his jokes like weren't working. So it's like, let me go into crowd work. And he was asking something involved with music, and these two people in the back were like, "Free R. Kelly," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Oh!" I was like, "How the?" I was like, "He was bombing to begin with. This is not gonna help." I was like, "How the fuck is he gonna get out of this?" And he was going back and forth with this person. I was like, "Do not go back and forth with them." I was like, "This is very bad," because they're not even right in front of you. They're in the back of Laugh Factory, and he is shouting back and forth with them. And they were like, "Free R. Kelly," and I was like, "Okay, now this is funny, but it's like not funny. Yeah, but it's funny." And I was like,
funny in that unique, special, once in a lifetime moment type of show, funny kind of way.
Because all the comics were like, "Wait, what did that bitch just say?" Like so funny. And she was dead ass serious. I bet
she was. Okay, Chicago.
Like, I was like, oh god. But yeah, the comic did not recover his set.
No, how could you?
Yeah, but I was like, first of all, I was like, you're engaging with somebody in the back of the room. I was like, that's not gonna go well if you're gonna continue it. Right. And B, did you not hear what she just said?
Yeah, that's
I was
crazy.
like, unless you got something in the pocket to spin that
some
around,
R. Kelly joke,
like with your Kanye West.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Like unless you got something to really spin that shit around, you gotta fucking hightail it out of there. Yeah. But he just was like, "What'd you say?" And I was like, "No."
That's
but also
crazy.
keep going because this is funny for me.
Sounds like Bill Burr out there.
Every loud screech I hear, I'm gonna be like, "Is that Bill Burr?
Bill? Is that you?
Is that you screeching?"
That's hilarious. You know what I wanted to talk about too is people. Okay, so social media has really ruined stand up, and the thing that I find spectacular is how many comedians are willing to post clips of their own jokes not doing well. One could call it like bombing, but I don't know if it would be considered that. But I'm just like, how are you like? It's pretty for those who don't follow comedy as much as we do, because we follow so many comedians at so many different levels, and I feel like a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They follow the famous people, they follow some mid-level people, and if they support local comedy, they probably support a few local comedians. But that's rare.
Yeah.
Not in cities like Chicago, but across the country, it's pretty rare. I'm just like stunned every time I like see a clip where I'm like, why the fuck would you post this? I get that you're proud of the joke.
Yeah.
But like, damn, what are you doing? Like, how does this help you?
Well, if it's like, it's also like being proud of the joke. Like if you're, it's like if you aren't hearing the laughs, then you aren't setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
So it's also like, A, the joke isn't there, or like B, maybe that wasn't the night for that joke to hit. Because I'll watch back clips and I'll be like, okay, which one has the stronger laughs?
Right.
It's still a good bit, no matter the audience.
Right.
But which one has the stronger laughs?
Right.
So when people post something where you're like, you hear a chuckle, or like you hear the server talking in the background, and you're like, what the fuck?
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. This is really just me telling people, stop posting such bad clips.
Yeah. It's also just like, take your time with it too, I guess. Like there's no rush in trying to like put out I feel like you're better off waiting to put out a solid clip versus just throwing out trash.
Exactly. I don't even see how that's a conversation that needs to be had, but apparently it needs to be had because you see it all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah, it really does. And then what's also crazy is, depending on the algorithm, I was like, why am I viewing a clip that has no laughs but somehow thousands of views?
That's another wild one
to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, but they're bombing.
Yeah.
Like in this moment, in this clip, they are bombing.
I mean, and maybe that justifies it then, right? I mean, wouldn't it justify it if people are getting views? Because I've certainly I don't think I've ever stumbled upon a clip that's like bombing or feels like bombing and has a lot of views. I think the clips I'm talking about are like really too sad to ever see anything. Like even like maybe the jokes aren't even that good. Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah.
I will say to that, I have seen videos that have a lot of views that, in my opinion, the joke isn't like great or getting a good response, but the way they chop it up, it's almost like, oh no, but I have to push through the joke. But then there isn't actually never any laughs.
No.
I find that to be also particularly interesting to watch.
Yeah. Just like the way that jokes in general, I think, are edited and then put on social media sometimes is like a turnoff, but also very confusing. And then you just find yourself asking, why did you post this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why was this posted?
And then I guess the next level of that is watching a comedy special that is not getting a lot of laughs. You ever see some shit like that? You ever been to a taping where someone's not getting a lot of laughs? Because that's brutal. But when the openers are funnier than the or whatever. Anyways, I don't want to get into we can't get into too many digital. But
I've been to some where like one of the openers wasn't good and also just wasn't a good fit, and then the way the special was set up just wasn't good, and I was like concerned. I was like, you spent money.
Yeah, you spent money.
And
there are investors involved.
Yeah. Or it's just like, I'm always curious. I mean, this is for like a different episode, but like recording specials too soon.
Oh.
Like I know that's like a different thing.
Okay, guys, that's coming.
Yeah,
that's a good topic to come.
Yeah, because I have lots of questions about that, but I definitely, in like year 2, I was seeing people doing that. I was like, what? You're recording a special?
I mean, I guess if you spent 2 years bombing and you finally start getting laughs, you go, I think this is time to record.
And honestly, a majority of them were what? Men.
Yeah, of course. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. But I've always been curious about that. But when people do record their specials, I'm like, okay, but like, I know that this can be better, but now you're recording this as if this is like a big thing.
Right.
And people aren't laughing.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's sad.
It's very sad.
It's very sad. You know, when I recorded my special, we did 2 tapings, and the first one did so well. That's the whole special. I think I just cut a couple jokes because I said them wrong. And then the second taping, I didn't really do my set. I hit a couple of jokes because Ida had asked me to hit a couple jokes, but that was it. And then because I was pretty hammered. And I was like, I'm not doing it. We already, you know, I know how to self-edit. So, like, that's the special. Like, I'm not giving you another option. I said all this. I talked to all this shit. I know they were pissed.
Yeah.
And there was people in the audience that were pissed. In fact, this comic, he hit me up to do Comedy is Dead, the live edition. And he was telling me, because I was like, you know, thanks for coming to my show.
Yeah.
Like, he was great. And he was like, you know, I was at your taping. He goes, I was at the second one, and I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't like do the special. I was like, no, as a comic, I thought it was so cool. I thought it was really cool. It was interesting. Like, it's just, you know, when you know you're seeing something you're never gonna maybe see again.
Yeah.
And then and he was like, but the girl that I was with, my girlfriend at the time, he was like, she was pissed. She hated that you did that. And I was like, well, fuck her. She's not my fan anyways. Like, the people who get it, you know?
Yeah.
And there was even people, some of my fans that were there, they were like, it was kind of disappointing, but it was also kind of fun. Like, it was so cool to be like, ooh, we're getting this special show, and then now we get to watch the special, and that's, you know, we know that was the first show, and like, that's cool. Yeah, you get to see 2 essentially. But yeah, if you're not with the shits, you know, if you're not into comedy that much, yeah, that's fucking annoying and rude and self-centered. I get it. But it's that thing where I was like, no, because if I do, you know, another set and it doesn't do well, these motherfuckers are going to find a way to squeeze it in. I would rather have a bad show and be like, well, sorry, I decided to get drunk and, you know, throw this one. But also, like, the other thing that a lot of production companies don't understand is, like, no, you don't understand the value in having a one-off that nailed it. And even if it had a couple, like, lulls, it doesn't matter. That's part of the damn show. Like, there's so many comics who record their specials in 2 parts and then only make sure that that all the jokes that hit on this one, all the jokes that hit on that one, and that's the special. And it's like, that's not really accurate, because also, if you can't deliver that in a live setting, then why are you acting like you can deliver that in a live setting? You can't.
And I do appreciate, I appreciate that just like within the art form, because it's like, yeah, like there are going to be lulls. And as somebody who is like absorbing all these different types of comedy, I would much rather see maybe comics that I can't always get to and see how they actually perform, like how people are really receiving it, rather than something that is chopped up.
Right, exactly.
Because I'm able to like learn from that, because you're able to be like, oh, okay, wait, we all have lulls.
Right,
we
exactly.
all have lulls in our fucking set. Because when you're watching a special, you're like, especially starting out, you're like, oh my God, they're so perfect.
They're so flawless.
Everything go boom, 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 boom. And then when you see them like perform live, you're like, oh,
right.
Okay. Everything happens to all of us because we're all human.
Right.
And different set of circumstances for every set.
Absolutely.
And it's just really great to watch. So I appreciate that you did that.
Thank you. Yeah. And to end this episode, I will also say one of my favorite things to ever see on a special was when Bill Burr, we're rounding out this episode. Sorry for all the people who hate Bill Burr. I know there's a lot of people who don't like him. But one of his specials, I forget which one, he deals with a heckler during his set because a joke has a lull, and some woman says something, and then he goes back and forth. The audience, of course, goes crazy because it's so frustrating when you have a heckler who they think they've sassed you to like you know, to a point of no return, because they're like, right, everybody, and it's like, no, bitch, nobody agrees with you. And it's always remained one of my favorite things I've ever seen him do, which she's like center stage. And he completely shits on her, and to the point of like, oh my God, she got to be embarrassed. And I love that he left the lull in order to deal with that heckler situation, because that was a big pop, you know. And that's what's so funny about seeing people live is sometimes the joke doesn't even get the big pop. Sometimes it's like the audience reacting and then you reacting, and then because you never know what's gonna happen. That's the beauty of live comedy, and I do like when comedians capture that live experience in a special.
No, I definitely agree. It's just that's why I love watching the comedians that I've seen like have specials than going and watching them live and then kind of seeing kind of like the comparison with that where you're like, oh, that was a really edited special.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like this is kind of like how you are live, which like I'm still fucking with it, but like interesting.
Right, exactly.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey, but you have to bomb to get really good.
Yeah.
And you have to have lulls to learn how to dig yourself out of them.
Yeah. Sometimes
so,
it feels good to bomb. Maybe not like in your definition of that bomb.
Yeah, no.
Like that old school definition, but like I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I'm building character.
Yeah,
like,
look.
in that moment, I'm like, I'm building character.
The silence helps you. It tells you. I mean, when I do my monthly, I'll try brand new shit.
Yeah.
And that, like, last week when I did a few brand new ones, and one of them was like did not good. Yeah. And the thing was, people were engaged though, because there's not doing well as in like ooh, and then there's not doing well as in like, no, we're waiting for the punchline, you just don't have one yet.
Yeah.
And that's, you have to learn how to differentiate. And I feel like that's the problem with some comics is, again, if you don't know how to fucking handle a big bad bomb, you won't be able to differentiate between when there's a joke isn't working because it's not ready.
Yeah.
And when you're actually very bad at your job. And with that, thank you for listening to Comedy is Dead. Leave your comments about bombings you've ever seen, your favorite bombings you've ever watched. Comedy bombings. Yeah. Not if you live in a war zone. We know those stories. We have access to that. Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Catch us next week. Bye.